Level 1, the applicant. The saw does not sound like you expected. You are 17, standing behind a gallery window, and below you a surgeon is cracking a man's chest, and the sound goes through the glass and into your teeth. The ribs spread. The heart appears, red, wet, beating against open air like it does not know it is exposed. Your hands grip the railing. You cannot move. 53,000 will apply the year you do. 400 will choose surgery. 60 will choose trauma. You will hold a dying 19-year-old's heart in your bare hand and feel it stop. 14 years from now, your own hands will tremble over a chest that looks exactly like this one, 5:47 a.m. No attending coming. No one left a call. But right now you are 17. The heart is still beating, and you have already decided. Level 2, the medical student. 8 interviews across 6 states, each running $200 to $800 in flights and hotel rooms, 3 paid by your father, the rest on a credit card opened for this purpose. Balance. $4,300 by December. One school accepts you, not your first choice, not your fifth. Your mother drives you to the airport for the last one, and does not cry until you are through security. You move to a city where you know no one, and begin borrowing $85,000 a year. The first lecture is on cellular respiration. The last one, 4 years from now, will be on how to tell a family their child is dead. Nobody warned you about the distance between those 2 rooms. Anatomy lab. First semester. The cadaver's hands are cold and gray. Yours are warm and shaking. That is the only difference between you that matters. And you carry this knowledge out of the lab and into the hallway and tell no one. The formaldehyde stays in your clothes for 2 days. Your roommate asks if you are okay. Fine. You say the first time you use this word as a door you close behind you. It will not be the last. 40% of medical students report symptoms of depression before graduation. The orientation packet does not mention this. It mentions the white coat ceremony. The first patient you lose is not yours. 3rd year. A 67-year-old female codes during a procedure you are observing from the corner of the room. The team works for 11 minutes. Then they stop. The surgeon pulls off his gloves and looks at the clock. Time, he says. The word is not angry. It is not sad. It is administrative. The room is cleaned in 20 minutes. The next case begins. One body out, another in. The system does not pause for a single death when living patients are waiting. That night you sit in your car in a parking garage beneath the hospital. The engine is off. The concrete hums with the building's ventilation. You call your mother. She asks how your day was. You tell her the weather was nice. It was raining. You chose weather because weather does not require follow-up questions, and the profession will spend the next 20 years confirming what you just learned without anyone teaching it. The system does not show you how to grieve. It shows you where to put grief so the work can continue. By the time you graduate, 53,000 new applicants will have entered the pipeline behind you. 1 in 5 will not finish residency. You do not yet know which one you are. Level 3, the intern. Postgraduate year 1, $63,000 a year, 80 hours a week. That is $15.14 an hour. The hospital cafeteria charges $9 for a sandwich, half your hourly wage for lunch. Meals happen in 4-minute windows between pages, standing in hallways. Sleep comes in 20-minute increments in a call room that smells like the last 3 residents who used it. Learning these rhythms is not a skill. It is a symptom. The loan balance crosses $200,000 in month 3. No payment against principal for another 9 years. Your first solo trauma code arrives at 3:12 a.m. on a Saturday. A 52-year-old male. Stab wound, left flank. The bleeding is arterial. The attending is 11 minutes out. Those 11 minutes are yours. Your hand is steady. Your heart is not. You can hear it in your ears, louder than the monitors, louder than the charge nurse calling for Oneg. The patient's pressure drops in a line that does not bend back. By the time the attending arrives, the line is flat. 9 seconds of silence before anyone speaks. The charge nurse looks at you. The scrub tech looks at you. Everyone in the room looks at you because you were the one who was here. And you are the one who will carry this. You will remember those 9 seconds for the rest of your career. Not as a memory, as a measurement. The attending places a hand on your shoulder and says 4 words. You did everything right. The sentence is designed to keep you in the building. It works. In 7 years you will say these exact words to your own interns. You will still not believe them. 100 surgeons begin general surgery residency the same year as you. 14 will not finish. National attrition for surgical residents, 18%, highest of any specialty. Nobody quotes this number at orientation. Orientation is for white coats and the word welcome. A text arrives at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. 3 sentences from someone who has been waiting for you to come home for 14 months. There is blood under your fingernails from the last case, dried, crescent-shaped, impossible to fully remove with hospital soap. The relationship ends in a stairwell between the 3rd and 4th floor because the call room was occupied and the parking garage was too far. No argument. Just distance, stated. The person you have been sharing a life with has been sharing it with your schedule, and your schedule does not love anyone back. You put the phone in your pocket. You go back to the floor. Level 4, the junior resident. Postgraduate year 3, the attending is 12 minutes away by phone. A 9-year-old arrives by helicopter. Bicycle versus SUV. Her left side is distended, and her blood pressure is dropping, and you are the most qualified person in the room. You are 28. Your hands are steady now. They stopped shaking somewhere in the 2nd year. You did not notice when. The spleen is ruptured. You call it splenectomy. The decision takes 4 seconds and will take the girl 9 days to recover from. She keeps her kidney. She keeps her life. Her mother sends a card to the department 3 weeks later, thank you in blue pen, a child's drawing of a flower on the inside. The attending's name is on the envelope. Yours is not. You performed the surgery, he answered the phone. This is how credit works in this system. The person who decides gets the risk. The person who supervises gets the name. A college roommate texts on a Saturday while you chart in a supply closet because every workstation on the floor is taken. He went into consulting. Over the past 2 years, he has worked 4,800 hours. You have worked 11,000. His salary, $190,000. Yours, $70,000. He asks about lunch next time he is in town. You are on call. You are always on call. Maybe next month, you tell him. You have said this 4 times. 3 months later, a 4-year-old arrives by ambulance, abdominal injuries, bruising in patterns that hands make. The paramedics' report says non-accidental trauma. You know what this means before anyone in the room says it out loud. A person who was supposed to protect this child did the opposite. And now the child is on your table at 6:15 a.m. on a Tuesday, and you are trying to repair what someone else destroyed. The child dies at 6:40 a.m. You do not cry. You notice that you do not cry. That is worse. There was a version of you 2 years ago calling your mother from a parking garage, telling her the weather who would have cried. That version is gone. You did not feel it leave. One day you could feel a death, and the next day you could only process one. And the difference between those 2 verbs is the entire distance between who you were and who the job requires you to become. Nobody will name this for you. Nobody will sit you down and say the word dissociation. Most of the people in this building crossed the same line and no longer remember which side they started on. After 28 hours, you drive home. At a red light, you sit through 2 green cycles before you realize you have stopped moving. A car honks. You drive. Level 5, the senior resident. The attending leaves the room during a case for the first time. He does not announce it. He checks the monitors, checks the field, and walks out to take a call. And you are standing over an open abdomen with 2 junior residents and a scrub nurse. And the patient's blood pressure is 88/54, and the only senior surgeon in this operating room is you. Loan balance, $310,000. Interest has added $47,000 to money you borrowed to learn how to do exactly this. First payment against principal this year, $614 a month. Interest alone, $1,940. A postgraduate year 2 named Carla assists on your cases 3 nights a week. Sharp, efficient, rarely asks twice. She reminds you of yourself 2 years ago, the way she charts standing up, the way she eats without looking at the food. On a Wednesday in March, she does not come in. Her pager goes unanswered. Her locker is cleared out by Friday. The program director sends a 1-line email. Dr. Reyes has elected to leave the program effective immediately. No one discusses it at morning conference. Within a week, the schedule has been rearranged and her name is gone from the call board. The system seals over absence the way tissue seals over a wound, quickly, completely, as if nothing was ever there. You sit in the stairwell between the 3rd and 4th floor, the same stairwell, where a relationship ended 2 years ago, and try to remember the last thing she said. You cannot. What you remember is that she was fine. She was always fine. That is what she said, and that is what you believed, because fine is the only word this building accepts, and you have been saying it yourself for so long that you no longer hear it as a lie. There is an intern on your service now. Postgraduate year 1. He is 26 and his hands shake during his first solo closure, and you stand behind him and place your hand over his, the way someone once did for you, and guide the needle through the fascia and say nothing until he finishes. You did everything right. The words leave your mouth before you can examine them. The voice is not yours. It is the attending's, the one who said them to you after the 52-year-old died under your hands. You have become the next carrier of a sentence designed to keep people in a building that would empty overnight if anyone told the truth. And the truth does not produce surgeons. Level 6, the chief resident. Morbidity and Mortality Conference, Thursday at 7 a.m. You stand at the front of a room of 40 surgeons and present the case of a patient who died on your table. The format is clinical. The patient experienced a suboptimal outcome following emergent repair of a ruptured AAA. A suboptimal outcome. The patient's name was David Chen. He was 61. He had a granddaughter he was supposed to pick up from school that afternoon. She waited at the curb for 40 minutes before someone called her mother. The room does not know this. The room does not need to know this. The room needs to know whether you clamped above or below the renals, and why. You say you would not do it differently. A surgeon in the third row, 22 years your senior, 4,000 cases, asks if you considered another approach. The question is not hostile. It is the careful voice of someone who has presented his own deaths in this room and who is helping you build a version of events you can carry. Not comfort, architecture. Afterward, in the hallway, an attending puts a hand on your shoulder. It gets easier. You recognize the sentence. It is built the same way as you did everything right, something designed to keep people in the building. But this version is more dangerous because you are 31 and you have been inside this system for 10 years, and for the first time you almost believe it. Not fully, but with enough reflex that the words land somewhere near acceptance. And that single millimeter of softening terrifies you more than the death you just presented. 400 physicians die by suicide in the United States each year. The rate among surgeons is double the general population. These numbers are known. They are not discussed at M&M conference. Fellowship offers arrive in April. 3 programs. The salary will jump to $350,000 within 2 years. After 14 years, the math will finally work. But the math working does not repair what the math broke: the relationships, the sleep, the version of yourself that could still cry in a parking garage. The math does not account for the weight your body has been carrying. It does not subtract the hours your nervous system spent calibrated for emergencies that have already ended. 3 nights this week you wake at 2:14 a.m. reaching for a pager that is not on your nightstand. It has not been there for 6 months. Your hands close on nothing. You lie in the dark waiting for a sound that is not coming, and you do not know if the waiting is the habit or the damage. Nobody checks. There is no system for checking on the people who hold the system together. You are the safety net. There is no net beneath you. Level 7, the trauma fellow. The hallway is 40 feet long. You know this because you have walked it before, but never like this. Never with blood still drying on your forearms, and a sentence in your mouth that will change 5 people's lives, and nothing you can do about any of it except keep walking. The patient was 19. GSW to the left chest. He arrived at 11:47 p.m. with a pulse of 42 and a blood pressure the monitor could not reliably read. You opened his chest in the trauma bay, not the ORA. The bay. Because there was no time, and held his heart in your hand and squeezed it manually to keep it beating while the team set up for the thoracotomy. You worked for 47 minutes. His heart stopped 3 times. You restarted it twice. The 3rd time it did not come back. You held it in your palm and felt it stop, and there was nothing left to squeeze. You called time of death at 12:34 a.m. Now you are walking. The vending machine at the end of the corridor hums. Fluorescent light flickers at a frequency you recognize from a stairwell years ago, from a night when loss was something that happened to you instead of something you carried to other people. Your scrubs are stained. There is a protocol that says you should change. There is a reality that says the family has been sitting in that room for 51 minutes watching the clock, and every additional minute is its own cruelty. 5 faces through the glass before you reach the door. 2 women, 1 older. A man in a work jacket. A girl who cannot be older than 15. A boy younger than that. The older woman stands when she sees you, not with hope, not with questions, but with the specific gravity of someone whose body is preparing to receive a weight it will carry for the rest of its life. You open the door. You say his name. You say you are sorry. You say the team did everything they could. She makes a sound that is not a scream and not a word. Something underneath language. something the body produces when the mind has not yet arrived at what is happening. You have heard this sound before from the mother of the 4-year-old. You will hear it again. It does not get easier. The mother reaches for your hand. She takes it. She holds it. Your hand is still warm from her son's blood, and she does not know this, and she holds it anyway. And for a moment, you are not the surgeon, and she is not the mother, and the room is not the room. 2 people holding on to the last thing that touched him alive. The walk back is 40 feet. It is longer going back. Level 8, the attending trauma surgeon. You are 35. You have lost 340 patients. The number is precise because you kept a list not officially, not in any file, but in a document on your phone that you update after each one with the date, the cause, the age. No names. Names are a weight the mind cannot carry at volume. Numbers, it turns out, are not much lighter. The salary is $420,000. Loan, paid off, a house, a yard, a car that starts every morning. From the outside, this looks exactly like the life you were promised when you were 17 and watching a heart beat through a spread ribcage. From the outside, the math has worked. From the inside, the math is a language that cannot describe what it cost. A resident drops a metal tray in the break room on a Tuesday. Sharp, percussive, ordinary. Your shoulders rise, your hands clench. Your breath catches before your brain registers the sound, a startled response calibrated by 14 years of pages and overhead codes. You wave it off. You smile. The smile is a reflex as old as the flinch. 3 seconds later, your hands unclench. You count them. 40% of trauma surgeons screen positive for PTSD symptoms. The profession does not screen. Your daughter is 4. She is sitting on the kitchen floor drawing with markers when you come home after a 19-hour shift. She looks up her mother's eyes, an unguarded question you are not prepared for. Does it make you sad? Your work? She does not know that sad is a word this building does not allow. She is looking at you with an openness this profession has spent 14 years sealing shut inside you. Sometimes, you say, it is the first honest answer you have given about this career since you started. Later that night, after she is asleep, you are brushing your teeth and your left hand trembles. Not a shake, not a spasm. A tremor, fine, rhythmic, barely visible. You hold it up to the bathroom mirror and watch. 4 seconds. It stops. You put the toothbrush down. You tell yourself it is fatigue. You have been awake for 21 hours. It is fatigue. Your hand does not agree. Level 9, the division chief. The neurologist office is on the 3rd floor of a building that is not a hospital. The walls are beige. The lights do not flicker. No one is dying in the next room. You are 46 years old and sitting across from a man telling you that your left hand has developed an essential tremor. Progressive. Irreversible. He says the words clinically insignificant. And you almost laugh because you have spent 25 years inside a profession where the difference between a living patient and a dead one is measured in the steadiness of a hand. And he is telling you the erosion of yours is insignificant. He does not operate. He does not know. You sit in the parking garage, the same garage, a different car, the same concrete, and hold your left hand in front of your face. The tremor is there. Fine. Rhythmic. Constant now. Not 4 seconds anymore. You count to 30 before you stop counting. The hand that held a heart at 26. The hand that placed itself over an intern's. The hand a mother held because it was still warm from her son's blood. The hand your daughter drew last week, big, steady, certain. This hand. This instrument. You think about calling your mother. You think about telling her the weather is fine. 871 patients. The list on your phone has grown from a document to a file, to something you no longer open because the scrolling never ends. You are the chief of trauma surgery at a level 1 center. Salary, $580,000. 44 residents trained under you. 9 left the profession. You do not know how many of them are fine. You do not know how many of them are saying fine. There is a version of this story where you stop, where the tremor is the permission slip you have been waiting for to walk away, to sleep through the night, to sit in a room without mapping the exits. There is a version where the hand finally rests and nobody calls at 3 a.m. and the list stops growing. You do not choose that version. Your daughter is 8 now. Last week she drew you a picture, a person in green scrubs with big steady hands. The hands in the drawing do not shake. Tuesday, 5:47 a.m. The pager goes off real this time, not phantom. A 38-year-old female. MVA. Left ventricle. You scrub in. The fluorescent light hums. The retractor spreads the ribs. The pericardium opens. The heart is there, beating against your fingertip, and your hand is trembling, but your hand is moving. And you are 46 years old, and this is a Tuesday, and the heart is still beating, and you are still here. If this one stayed with you, like and drop a comment where you're watching from. Subscribe for more.